Hey guys, Taylor here. Today I'm going to show how a actual real estate agency out in Southern California uses Ringroost to manage their business communications. So this is it's a small shop. They're basically it's two brothers, Bryce and Mark, and they have a secretary or office assistant really, Claire, who's mostly in the office. So in the office they have three phones. But Bryce and Mark spend most of their time kind of on showing houses, so they're out of the office. So they need to communicate with their mobile devices. They both have iPhones actually, and so they sync up their iPhone. So I'll show how they did that. And this is just going to be an example, but it is how they actually set it up. So they have in their office, we'll do the office setup first, and then I'll show how to sync with their mobile. In the office they have three numbers. They have basically a main office number that they make available to the public. This goes to Claire's phone. She has they each have their own phone, so Claire generally takes most of the main calls and then will transfer the calls to Bryce and Mark as needed or handle it herself. So they both, Mark has his own, he also has his own phone. Generally, he doesn't make this number, this isn't his actual number, just an example, but they generally don't make this public unless he has a relationship with the particular person. So he'll give that out as needed. So obviously they need to, and if they were actually setting this up, they would need to register their SIP phones using this credentials. And there's other tutorials how to do that and also set up an E911 number. But this is just an example. So a similar thing here. Mark, so Mark would want to set his caller ID, and then we also have Bryce's phone here. So, so rather this, we would just set this and connect it like so. So once these SIP phones are, once they have the SIP phones and they register them, they'll be able to make and receive calls fine and everything. So this is a pretty simple office setup. Basically, three phones. These all actually have extensions too. 11, 12, 13. That way they can just pick up the phone at any point and dial the extension and be connected between their particular phones. So this is a pretty simple office setup. It works fine if everyone stays in the office. But so the problem comes in when Mark and Bryce are out of the office. They need to connect with the Ringroost. They need to be able to check their particular voicemails. And I also need to... So they each have, there's a main office voicemail. Actually, that's all there is. They all share the main office voicemail. So these will all be set to the one main office voicemail. And okay, so now what we need to do is we need to integrate with a particular mobile device. So in order to do this, we're going to both Mark and Bryce use their mobile devices, so we can drag and drop the mobile phone control onto the board. We're going to give these extensions. It's this 13. We're going to say 14 and 15. And here we're going to say Mark's phone and Bryce's phone. And then here they would put in their real numbers. This is just an example, so I'm just going to put in basically a fake number. Just to give you an idea, you do need to put in, they would need to put in their real phone numbers in order for this to work properly. So here we have Mark set up, and here we have Bryce's set up. I'm going to save this, and I'm just going to show you how Mark would use his phone. So they both have different setups. I can't remember which one does which now, but I think it's one of them, I think it's Mark, will say he has his set up so it rings his office phone first. If he is unable to pick up his office phone, it then continues through and rings his mobile phone. And Bryce has his set up so that they both ring at the same time, and then whichever one he picks up first, he'll use. So if he's in the office, he'll pick up on his office phone. Otherwise, he picks up on his mobile phone. So I'll show you how to, let me just make sure I save this. Just so on the mobile devices, let me bring in the mobile device. The mobile device will look basically like this, and here's kind of a bigger version. I'm just running it in the simulator just so you can get an idea. Let me do this. Okay, so here's what the mobile device will look like, and what you'll need to do as soon as you were to log in is say, we're going to just pretend that we're Mark. We'll say this is me, and now Mark's device is going to be associated with this particular mobile phone. Okay, so Mark will be able to view his voicemails, his call history, various contacts, and the settings, which means whenever anyone calls him, he can check the voicemail. If he wants, he can call back. He can view his call history. He can add it to. He can add a particular contact. He can associate various tags with that contact. And let's see, if at any point, if for example there's a new voicemail, you can just drag and you can just pull down and it'll refresh and any new voicemails will come. And he can also make calls right from the dial pad and call anyone he wants. So that's the basics of how you would connect your mobile device to your current PBX. So this is a real example of kind of how this real estate agency is able to connect their mobile communications to their office PBX. So as far as voicemails, the voicemails that Mark will see, and this is just kind of an example of what the app looks like. It's not actually his setup or anything, but he will see all the voicemails that are in the main voicemail box. So since in this particular case they all share one voicemail box, they'll all be able to access and play the same voicemails. So that's the basics of how that works. Thanks.